Hello friends and fellow bibliophiles, welcome back to Kat's Novel Adventures. In today's video, I am sharing a huge book haul full of middle grade and YA books, as well as a picture book. All of the books that I am sharing today are books that I have gotten from Scholastic. As most of you know, I was a classroom teacher for many years, and I'm currently a Title I tutor helping students with their reading, and I absolutely love Scholastic. I also absolutely love reading children's literature. So it's no surprise that I have plenty of middle grade and YA and even some lower elementary books, including picture books, on my shelves. What I love about Scholastic is they are very teacher friendly and they have all kinds of incentives for teachers. So for every buck you spend, you earn bonus points, and sometimes you get coupons for free books as well. So many of these books in this pile are books that I've spent my money on, but there are quite a few in this pile that I have gotten for free, and you can't beat that. I also picked up lots of books from the book fairs that are happening at my friend Catherine's school. It's actually the school I used to work for, and I'll go over there and help her. I want to show my support, and I'm always leaving the book fair with books for my home library. I also want to mention that all of the books that I'm sharing today are books that I have accumulated probably over the last year and a half. They have just been in boxes sitting on my bookshelf, and it's time for them to come out. I also will mention that they do not include any Scholastic books that I have purchased in 2024. Those I will share in another video that has to do with my book spending. So let's go ahead and get started. Before diving into the middle grade books, I want to share some books that are considered more lower grade or lower elementary, and then my picture book, as well as an illustrated version of a book that belongs to a series that I absolutely love. But the first one I want to share is about a literary character created by Jeff Brown, who I really do like a lot. I remember reading these books with my second graders, and that has to do with Flat Stanley. And so the first one is Stanley's Christmas Adventures. And this one says, Stanley is astonished when a girl tumbles down the chimney 2 nights before Christmas. It's Santa Claus's daughter, Sarah, and she's come for help. But these are really small books. They are beginner chapter books, and they're a lot of fun. And this next group is a pack that I got. It's not the complete series, but it's more adventures of Flat Stanley that are called Worldwide Adventures. I have numbers 6, 8, 13, 14, and 15. So that means I'm going to have to get the other adventures as well. First one is the African Safari Discovery. So I'm assuming this is going to take place in Africa. And then the next one is the Australian Boomerang Bonanza. So I think Australia is where he's traveling for this one. And then we have the Midnight Ride of Flat Revere. So we have a little bit of history in this one. And then On a Mission for Her Majesty. So this one takes place in London, which is a place I would love to travel one day. And then the last one is Lost in New York. But I think these are going to be really cute and a lot of fun. And like I said, it'll be fun to see what kind of adventures Flat Stanley has gotten into since his original adventures. And then next up, I have The Christmas Pig by J.K. Rowling. This book is illustrated by Jim Field, and it has to do with a little boy named Jack who loves his childhood toy, Der Pig. But Der Pig ends up going missing, and his replacement, the Christmas Pig, comes on the scene, and they have all kinds of adventures, I'm assuming, to get Jack's lost pig. But it seems like a cute little story and would be perfect for the family to read. And then my picture book I got was The Three Billy Goats Gruff, retold by Mac Barnett and illustrated by John Clausen. I forgot that I had bought this picture book. I got this one at a book fair. I remember that. I could have used it for Folklore February. So it's on my shelf. Doesn't mean I can't read it throughout the year for sure, but it would have worked perfectly for my readathon. And then last but certainly not least is an illustrated version of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is illustrated by Jim Kay with Neil Packer, of course written by J.K. Rowling. I am missing one of the books in the illustrated versions, and that is because Scholastic didn't offer it as a standalone. But this is one big book, and it is very heavy. I love Harry Potter. I have an original set in hardcover and also have another set that is by Mina Lima, I believe, that has some illustrations, but also some other fun stuff in their collection. So that pretty much takes care of that group of books. Next, we're going to talk some middle grade. So my first middle grade is 2 Degrees by Alan Gratz, A Planet in Crisis, and time is running out. I like Alan Gratz. I have quite a few of his books. And this one has to do with climate change. It says, 3 climate disasters, 4 kids fighting for their lives. Akira, Owen, George, and Natalie are all swept up in the devastating effects of climate change, but they are also connected in ways that will shock them and could alter their destinies. The next one is called Wild Oak. This is by C.C. Harrington. I bought this book purely because I absolutely love the cover. I picked this up at a book fair, and I know that there's some people reading this for middle grade March. A snow leopard, a child, an ancient forest. When fates collide, the unimaginable can happen. Then I have Hummingbird by Natalie Lloyd. This was also picked up at a book fair, and again, it was a cover by, but I just think that's a beautiful cover. I love the colors in it. And this one is Homeschooled Olive. I love the name Olive. Is tired of being seen as fragile just because she has osteogenesis imperfecta, otherwise known as brittle bone disease. So she's thrilled when she convinces her overprotective parents to let her attend traditional school until a disastrous first day dashes her hopes of ever fitting in or making the friends she's always longed for. So I just think that's going to be a heartwarming story. And then I picked up this book first, My Own Lightning by Lauren Wolk, before I realized that this is the sequel to Wolf Hollow. So I have both of these books by this author. And again, this one was a cover by, and I just absolutely love it and how it looks. So I'm hoping that the stories inside are just as good as the covers. This one, Wolf Hollow, actually won a Newbery honor. Despite growing up in the shadows cast by 2 world wars, Annabelle has lived a mostly quiet, steady life in her small Pennsylvania town until the day new student Betty Glengarry walks into her class. And that's where I'm going to stop because we're going to have a little cliffhanger there. And then this one says it's been several months since the tragic event set in motion by bully Betty Glengarry. So we have the continuation in this story, and I'm not going to go into any more of that because I don't want to spoil anything for you or for me. But isn't that a great cover? I admit I do buy books based on the covers. Please know that that is not the only reason that I buy books is because of the cover. It is just a mild influence. If the cover speaks to me, I feel like I should oblige and buy it. And talking about another book with a fantastic cover is The Art of the Swap by Christine Aslan and Jen Malone. Isn't that a great cover? It's wonderful too because it's a mystery. It says 2 girls, 2 centuries, 1 giant mystery. Hannah Jordan lives in a museum, sort of. Her dad is the caretaker for mansion-turned-museum, The Elms. Hannah loves the story of the Elms' original occupants, especially Maggie Dunlap, the tween heiress and subject of a painting that went missing during an art heist in 1905. But when a mysterious mirror allows Hannah and Maggie to switch places in time, dun dun dun, we have a mystery. I really can't wait to read this book. I'm very excited that I've rediscovered it. in my pile of books. Another one, Front Desk by Kelly Yang. I believe Crystal at Fiber Artsy read this book, and I was so excited to get a copy of this. I know I got this one through one of the flyers for the book clubs. This one is, my parents told me that America would be this amazing place where we could live in a house with a dog, do whatever we want, and eat hamburgers till we were red in the face. So far, the only part of that we've achieved is the hamburger part. But I'm still holding out hope, and the hamburgers here are pretty good. So that seems like that's going to be a lot of fun. And then I could not help this one. I went back and forth on this, but I just felt so sad for this little dog. His name is Nuggly, and this is by MC Ross. It says, "Love is never ugly." Look. Poor Nuggly. I am a sucker for animal books, I will say. Then, talking about another dog, we have Sharon Creech. This is Love That Dog. I believe this is either told in verse or it is poetry, but it's very small. I don't know. I'm fascinated with it. I remember having that in my library when I was a librarian back at St. Joseph. Another is Rodman Philbrick's The Mostly True Adventures of Homer P. Figg. This is a Newbery Honor book. So it looks like we have a little bit of historical fiction here. And it says, well, from the Boston Globe anyway, a swashbuckling and humorous tale of adventure. In this award-winning page-turner, 12-year-old orphan Homer runs away from Pine Swamp, Maine, to find his older brother who has been sold into the Union Army. So he's going to be getting up to some adventures. And then another author that I really like is Gary Paulson. This book is called How to Train Your Dad. Can an old dog learn new tricks? That is a fantastic cover. But I have read several of Gary Paulson's books and really enjoy them. Because of the Rabbit by Cynthia Lord. This is the Newbery Honor author of Rules, which I've read Rules and really like this one. But another cute little animal on the cover. It says, on the last night of summer vacation, Emma tags along with her game warden father on a call. They expect to rescue a wild rabbit that's stuck in a picket fence, but instead they find a little bunny, maybe someone's pet. Emma convinces her father to bring him home for the night, and she knows that rabbits can be lucky, and she needs all the luck she can get. Because the next day, Emma starts public school for the very first time. After years of being homeschooled, she's ready to ride the bus and eat in a cafeteria as a brand new 5th grader. More than anything, Emma wants a best friend, someone who's always on her side. So another sweet book. I hope that Emma finds friends. Another book with an animal on the cover, Sled Dog School. Will Matt's New Business Make Him the Leader of the Pack by Terry Lynn Johnson. Look how cute. That puppy dog, he looks so happy. He must be having a good life. 11-year-old Matt feels most comfortable working and playing with his rowdy team of dogs. So when he has to set up his own business to help out his math grade, Matt's Sled Dog School is born, teaching dog sledding. How rough can it be? Rough, get it? R-U-F-F? I know, I'm a bit of a nerd. And then Garvey's Choice by Nikki Grimes. This is another book that is told in verse. Don't know anything about it, but I happened to pick this one up and I like the cover. I promise I don't always pick up all the books because of the covers. The next 3 books are part of the Villain series by Serena Valentino. And the first one is Cold Hearted, A Tale of the Wicked Stepmother. This has to do with Lady Tremaine, who is Cinderella's stepmother. We also have Poor Unfortunate Soul, A Tale of the Sea Witch. This is Ursula from The Little Mermaid. And then I have Never Never, A Tale of Captain Hook, which is from Peter Pan. I also have 2 nonfiction books that are part of the Who Was series, and I know these 2 were free that I got through the book clubs. And the first one is Who Was Sojourner Truth by Yana Zeldis Magdana. A girl born a slave, a woman who gave herself a new name and a new life, an early leader fighting for the rights of blacks and women. That is Sojourner Truth. Then I also have Who Was Anne Frank? A high-spirited child always playing pranks, a young Jewish girl forced into hiding for 2 years, the author of one of the best beloved books in the world, and that is Anne Frank. I also have Wish by Barbara O'Connor. With a little luck, you can get what you wish for. Another sweet cover. I'm hoping this is going to be a heartwarming story. And then I like little books about witches, and this is Eva Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch by Julie Abe. That one looks like a cute one. Requirements to pass the novice quest. 1, help your town do good all around. 2, live there for 1 moon. Don't leave too soon. And 3, fly by broomstick, the easiest trick. Evergreen is determined to earn the rank of novice witch before her 13th birthday. So that one sounds like it's going to be fun. And I absolutely love the middle grade author, Gordon Corman. So the next group of books are books all by him. I have read many, many books by Gordon Corman. And in fact, I am reading Restart right now for middle grade March and loving it. So the first one is Radio, 5th grade. Then I have Slacker. That cover is hilarious, if I must say so myself. Cameron Boxer is very happy to spend his life avoiding homework, hanging out with his friends and gaming for hours in his basement. It's not too hard for him to get away with it until he gets so caught up in one game that he almost lets his house burn down around him. Oops. Then I have The Fort. It's Our Secret, Don't Tell. And Operation Do-Over. And then the last one is Schooled. And this one says, Cap was beginning to rile me. Of course it's empty. It's your locker. It's empty until you put something in it. What do I have to put in there? He demanded. How should I know? It's your stuff. When we lock things away, he said with conviction, we're really imprisoning ourselves. Now that was definitely something you didn't hear every day. What school did you go to before this? So that's going to be an interesting kind of friendship, perhaps. And then last but not least, in middle grade, let me bring me this stack over here, is a group of what I would consider probably more horror middle grade. And the first one is I Know You're Lying by Daphne Benedis Grab. I don't know why I said it that way. I know you're lying. But anyway, finger pointing. And What Waits in the Water. This one was a bargain book. I got it for $2. And it says, take a dip if you dare. Also, The Ghost of Drowned Meadow by Kelly Scavron. That is a creepy cover, if I must say so myself. I'm intrigued. And the next two are by Dan Pawlowski. I've read one book by him, and I think these look pretty good. One is called Liar's Room. Simon is a liar. Stella and Alex know this about their new stepbrother, so they aren't bothered by his stories about their new house. Wildwick, a former schoolhouse for misbehaved boys, might have plenty of creaks and shadows, but the twins know that ghosts aren't real. But Simon is getting harder and harder to ignore as his cries for attention become increasingly dangerous and difficult to explain. I like books with ghosts in them, and I like books with haunted houses. And then the other one by Dan Pawlowski is Ghost Hunter's Daughter. And then I have The Replacement by Lindsay Duga. Never make a promise you can't keep. The Lonely Ghost by Mike Ford. All she wants is a new friend. I would not want her to be my friend. She's creepy. And then the last set of books are all by K.R. Alexander, which I've read several of K.R. Alexander's books. He is the author of The Collector and Vacancy. And the first one is Gallow Gate. Most are raised to fear the dead. A few are taught to fight them. Another terrific, terrific cover. And then I have Possess Me. There's nowhere to hide when the dead are inside. Beware the doll. She wants to control it all. Speak for me. And then the last one is Dark Room. Bad enough that you see ghosts, even worse that they see you. Bum, bum, bum. So that's all the middle grade books that I have to share with you. The next 3 books are books which I would consider upper middle grade or YA. And the first one is Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. The next one is The Last Quintista by Donna Barber Higuera. Beautiful cover. I'm really interested in this one because I've heard a lot of great things about it in the BookTube community. And then the last one is A Snicker of Magic by Natalie Lloyd. She's also the author of the Hummingbird book that I picked up. This one says, sometimes friendship can be the most powerful magic of all. Some people collect baseball cards or hedgehogs or belly button lint. Not Felicity Juniper Pickle. She collects words. Words people are thinking about or words they want. So I'm fascinated with this one as well. Only 17 more books to go. I really appreciate you sticking with me. The rest of these books are all YA, and the first one is Boy, Tales of Childhood by Roald Dahl. This is an autobiography, so I'm looking forward to learning more about Roald Dahl, who happens to be one of my favorite authors. Next up is Curses by Lish McBride. This one says a run-in with a fairy godling at her betrothal ball left Merritt Craven with more than any fairy-born noble could want. Wealth, intelligence, and the kind of beastly visage that makes children weep. Now Merritt has until her 18th birthday to break the fairy's curse, and every day she loses a little more of herself to the animal she's become. All because she picked one unsuitable boy. Next up are 2 books by Jennifer Donnelly, and the first one is Stepsister, Beauty Isn't Always Pretty. This is a sort of Cinderella retelling. And then the second one is Poisoned, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, Who's the Deadliest of Them All? And this is a Snow White retelling. All 3 of those books that I just mentioned would be perfect for Folklore February. Then the next set of books is a series by Scott Westerfeld, and this is The Uglies. I don't know if The Uglies is the name of the series, but the first book in the series is Uglies. These are more like science fiction. Then we have Pretties, followed by Extras. And then the last book in the series is called Specials. But I had these on my shelf when I taught junior high, and I've always wanted to read them. So when I had the chance to get a special pack with all 4 of them in it, I grabbed it. Next up is Bluebird by Sharon Cameron. Another book that I've heard a lot of great things about. This one takes place in 1946. Eva leaves behind the rubble of Berlin for the streets of New York City, stepping from the fiery aftermath of one war into another, far colder one, where power is more important than principles and lies are more plentiful than the truth. Next up is Beneath the Wide Silk Sky by Emily Inoue Huey. Beautiful cover. Like a shutter flashing open and allowing in light, something clicked. Photography didn't just give me a voice. It spoke for all of us. Taking pictures created proof of what was done to us and of the strength with which we countered. So I believe this takes place in, on December 7th, 1941. Japanese airplanes attacked the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor. Fury toward Japanese Americans ignites across the country. In Sam's community in Washington State, the attack gives those who already harbor prejudice an excuse to hate and to act on that hatred. So I'm really interested to get to this one. I love historical fiction. And then I have Mystery. Now, this is by Stephanie Kewen, who I believe was the author of one of the Poe retellings I read, actually the retelling of The Telltale Heart. And I think it was Happy Days, Sweetheart. And I really loved that short story, that short retelling of The Telltale Heart. So this is called Murder, She Wrote. And apparently this is a series, and this is the first in the series. It says, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. Really love the cover. And I also love the Murder, She Wrote TV series. Really, really like that. I think it has to do with maybe a niece or something. And then another one is a horror novel called A Pocket Full of Posies. This is by Sean Sarles. Sarles. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And then another book that I have, now I have not read anything by this author, but I have a couple of her books, and I've been picking them up through Scholastic. This is by Karen M. McManus, and it's Nothing More to Tell. But it looks like it's a thriller. And then I have The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. Another beautiful cover. Look at that. There's like skeletons in those flowers. Delaney always talked to the dark. She never expected it to talk back. Delaney is tired of being seen as fragile just because she's deaf. So when she's accepted into a prestigious program that trains students to slip between parallel worlds, she's excited for the chance to prove herself. So, sounds like it might be a pretty good one to dive into. And then last, but certainly not least, I have some V.E. Schwab books. This is actually a series, and it is the City of Ghosts series, I believe. And the first one is Bridge of Souls. The second one is Tunnel of Bones. And the third one is City of Ghosts. Now, I'm thinking that is the order that they go in. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I got that as a pack. And because I forgot that I got it as a pack, I ended up buying it on the bargain table at a book fair. So I have an extra copy of this one. So guess what? I'll be giving this copy away to somebody in the near future. That's my ginormous book haul. Let me know in the comments below if you have read any of the books I shared with you today. I really, really, really appreciate you stopping by and hanging out. There's a lot of books to go through. As always, I appreciate you watching. And until our paths cross again, stay amazing and be adventurous.